AEW era confirmed, apart from Roderick Strong. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Chopper Pete Quinnell. No Luke, of course. He's done for the year. And this is my last podcast of the year too. So send me loads of money at WrestleTalk.com/support. It'll go on my New Year's Eve party in my flat alone, where I'm not going out. I'm Ollie Davis. No, I've done the intros.
You've done
this
the intros.
This is the AEW Dynamite review, the holiday bash edition of Dynamite. And the biggest news, apart from the main event being ridiculously fun, was the debut of Kyle O'Reilly about 10 days after he finished up in NXT. He showed up here at the end of the Adam Cole match to help Adam Cole win and stood alongside Bobby Fish and Cole. It's an Undisputed Era reunion.
I loved all of this. I know you had your gripes with it in the edited review, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I wanted to say firstly that I think that the minor gripe that I have with it, which could be conceived as a major gripe, I guess, is that if they didn't tease the debut last week, if Adam Cole didn't promise, like, oh, I've got this cool surprise for next week, if they hadn't have done that, I think this angle would have worked so much better, because now it quite doesn't make sense. But I think if Kyle O'Reilly did what he did here and just came out of nowhere, helped Cole win, and then Cole was kind of standing off with him, because Cole looked a little bit aggressive to him at one point to be like, the hell are you doing, man? What you doing here? Obviously a nod to them actually. The last thing they did together in NXT was have a feud. So that makes sense. And then the Young Bucks came out and were like, Cole, what you doing, buddy? And he's like, I don't know. I like Undisputed Era, but I also like the Super Click. I don't know what to do. And I was like, I love that element of the storytelling.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, of Cole being torn between his two groups. He's like, I just want everyone to be friends. Oh no, what have I done? That I think was really good. And like Red Dragon being back together, hitting them, see like the total elimination, hitting that. I was like, oh, I love Undisputed Era so much. Like that got my heartstrings going. I love seeing Kyle O'Reilly here. This was awesome. It's just if they didn't tease it last week, this would have been way more effective, I think. But I still loved it. I loved it with all my soul. And I love that they're going to have so much more of this intricate who's on whose side storytelling, because that to me is really interesting.
You ever look at AEW and you think, storytelling's too good. All these stories are too long. The character development is too real and psychologically complex. Can't I just have some sports entertainment in my wrestling shows?
No, I
never make too much sense, Pete. There's something about me doing shows with you, honestly, where I want to annoy you. I don't know what it is. like as I'm saying this out loud now, when we were doing the live reactions earlier in the year, and I was just like, just take it out. No. Just it doesn't have to make sense. As soon as I stopped doing, as soon as the next show, well, we weren't doing it just me and you, I was getting annoyed about stuff again. It's like having you here pushes me too much the other way. Anyway, just to recap what happened, Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy started this episode. They had, for my money, like a pay-per-view caliber match. I thought this was extraordinary. Both guys, I know there's been criticisms of Cole's first real feud in AEW is Orange Cassidy. The people who don't like AEW have used this as an example to say why AEW's booking is no good. You know, like, oh, what? And because if you look at it, what he did in NXT was of a higher prominence, I guess. This could be dismissed, if you weren't into it, as a comedy nothing feud. I happen to like it. I think it does mean something. And I think this match here showed actually Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole have kind of this perfect duality.
Oh, I think they are the good and evil versions of each other.
Yeah.
It's literally because they both have the comedy goofness, but on two different ends of the spectrum. It's like the fun babyface comedy goof, and Adam Cole is a really good, goofy comedy heel at the same time. But also, they're both really good technical wrestlers at the same time. And I think they told that kind of story throughout this match really, really well. And even like them kicking out of each other's signatures, and like Cole going for the cocky pin, like mocking the hands in the pockets and stuff like that was really, really good stuff. I just thought the match just picked up to such a fun degree by the end of it that when you got to the climax, you already had the Bucks and the Best Friends come out earlier and brawl to the back, so they weren't in the equation anymore. Then Bobby Fish came out, then you had Kyle O'Reilly. All of it just built into this really interesting and really what's the word I'm looking for? Definitive climax of the Kyle O'Reilly debut, and you're like, yes, this huge thing is happening. I think that the match built to it perfectly. It was great.
Yeah, I think there's something about Cassidy that uniquely gets under Cole's skin. Like it just annoys Cole so much, and I love that dynamic. But you're totally right. Kyle O'Reilly appears. Bobby Fish distracts the referee after the Young Bucks have already properly failed to, help Adam win. And then we get the moment afterwards where Cole and O'Reilly square off at one another. So just all positive. This is really nitpicking my criticisms of it. I love that Kyle O'Reilly's in the promotion. I love that Undisputed Era are there, and they've got a thing with the Bucks immediately. I don't expect that to implode right away. I think we're probably going to get some 10-man tags against the Best Friends and assorted others. Hopefully Sue finally gets in that team, and then we can make her in-ring debut. Send Sue. Yeah? Where my Sues at? My Sewers. Step aside.
Sewers?
I don't know.
Sewers?
Is there a better name for that? Sue fan?
The Sue Studios. I don't know.
Super Click. The Super Friends. Where's my Super Friends at? There we go. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. But just, I think it's two things that just sort of, because it's a debut. It's the Undisputed Era debut in AEW. That's something that's been fantasy booked forever, and it will only happen once. And this was the way they did it. And I don't think it was the best way of doing it. It was fine. It was good. But, that thing is now past. So that has left me a little bit cold, unfortunately. But I am excited for the future. I think it's two things. It's the placement of the match on the show. I think this would have been a far better angle if it was the main event. I know AEW kind of have a main event as the opener sometimes, but I'm a traditionalist, I guess, for my taste. I'll put it at the end. And the other thing is, it just was a bit... You can have people be uncertain and vague. I think that's what they were trying to get across. Where do Cole's allegiances lie? Is it to his Undisputed Era former buddies who are back, or the Bucks? And Fish and O'Reilly never turned round to look at the Bucks. It was Cole. So it was a very good piece of staging. But just the way it played out in the ring, that initial stare off with Kyle, there was no proper respect, fist bump, too sweet thing. I just found it a bit not confusing, but off.
I totally get that. And when Tempest and I were talking about this, when Kyle O'Reilly left NXT, we were talking about it on the NXT podcast to be like, how do you introduce Kyle into the story? Because the thing with AEW is that they reference everyone's continuity. Like everything that a wrestler has done in the past is canon in AEW lore. So everything that everyone's done in NXT is legit. So the last thing that Cole and O'Reilly have done is feud. So you can't just bring in Kyle to be like, hey, we're best mates, because that's not canon. That's not what's happened. So I like the fact that they're referencing their feud in NXT, but it feels awkward because of the tease from last week. I think if it was more uncertain, if you didn't have maybe the full Undisputed Era debut, you had Kyle come in here and help Cole win, but then Cole is like, wait, what are you doing? And Kyle just leaves or something like that. I feel like that might have been a more intriguing angle to take. So it's not a proper Undisputed Era debut to kick this episode off.
He walks off with Bobby Fish. And then you're like,
sure, yeah.
Oh, it's a Red Dragon reunion, not an Undisputed Era reunion. And then Cole's like, oh, but he helped me. Oh, but I've got the Bucks. What's going on? And then, yeah, I think that would work a lot better. Yeah, I just don't know what the idea was, because it does seem like Adam Cole had arranged Kyle O'Reilly's debut based on the segment and tease last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very glad it's happened. I'm very excited for what's going to go down. But this as an angle was, 60% of its potential for me.
That's totally fair. When you think of Undisputed Era debuting in AEW, it's probably not what a lot of people would have done. I like the subtle and the psychological storytelling, being like, where does Cole allegiances lie? But I guess, honestly, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to let it play out to see where it goes, because I have the faith that AEW will do something good with it.
Oh, yeah.
And also, on a very personal note, Undisputed Era means so much to me. Like, oh my God, they were like the thing that I gravitated towards. Like, for a very, very quick story, all of the tattoos that I currently have are pieces of like media or things that meant a lot to me at one point in my life. So I've got a thing about Harry Potter, which was a huge thing in my childhood. I've got a thing about Pokemon, which was huge. D&D, Avatar: The Last Airbender, all things that like resonated with me and are huge things. And at one point in my life, I wanted to get a wrestling tattoo because wrestling is another huge part of my life. That tattoo that I would have got would have been the Undisputed Era logo at that time when I wanted to get it, because they were the thing that I resonated with. Undisputed Era and Cole in NXT were the thing for me. And seeing them back together here, I was like, my babies, they're back. That made me very happy.
I know what you mean. I went ballistic when CM Punk turned up for WWE backstage.
You did.
So happy. Like, I was like, yeah, but it doesn't make any sense. And it's not an in-ring thing. And it's not like, it's not what I would have done. But still over the moon. So
yeah,
should we see what other people have to say on this?
Let's do
with
it.
The Omegachats, WrestleTalk.com/support. Get them in. Everyone over $5 will read out on air. Hannah Allen says, with her Australian dollars, Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era was the sole reason I held on to WWE. Well, them and WrestleTalk. I love my WrestleTalk fam. Me and WWE, on the other hand, shrug. I honestly have no idea. Haven't watched in a quarter month. A quarter month?
So a week.
A week. Like, then she puts lol.
Yeah.
Stay strong, lots of love. LIW for life. Baby. Jacob Smith. Hi guys, first time Omega Chat. Started watching WrestleTalk in January when I got my new work from home copywriter role. Thanks for a year of laughs and great content and getting me to watch AEW at last. So trios titles when for Redacted Era versus the Elite feud. Much love to you.
We have said before that they should introduce trios titles. Even more reason to have trios titles, because it keeps Adam Cole out of the AEW World title picture for now, but it gives him something really meaningful to do. Having Undisputed Era as trios champions?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. You gotta.
If there was ever a time to do it. Of course, they announced this on the Jericho Cruise in January 2020. I believe. No.
I can't remember.
It was before the pandemic, yeah. So January 2020.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
And yeah, 2 years, nothing happened. So yeah, they've definitely got plans to do it. And you just look at the roster, it's stacked anyway, and it's stacked with factions and a couple of great 3-man teams.
Stacked.
Yeah.
I tried.
Hey, have another single elimination tournament. Haven't had one of those for a day. Matthew Robinson. Wow, 5 out of 5 show. Great main event. Wow, the old school Sting face paint also with Undisputed Era back. Wow, what a night. Loved MJF running away. Merry Christmas to you all from Naples, Italy. Hope to celebrate with you guys one day. I love Napoli. I went to Massa Lorenzi a couple of years ago. One of my favorite places in the world. The AdNap 2. Let's take a moment to remember that Undisputed Era was still together in NXT 10 months ago. What? What, really?
Yeah. I mean, it was only it wasn't Stand and Deliver, was it? It was the other one. One before Stand and Deliver is when they actually broke up, when Adam Cole super kicked Kyle O'Reilly.
It's always a long year. What a year it's been. Merry Christmas, guys. Siam Raig Punk says, glad they got straight into the meat of the Undisputed Era versus Young Bucks Elite story. I wouldn't say the meat, but they definitely got into the appetizers.
Yes.
Hawk the Outcast 823 loved Kyle's debut. Big vibes of Cole's NXT debut. Oh, yeah, of course. That's a nice mirror. Just showed up.
Yeah.
The only thing I would have changed was Bobby being the one having a big surprise, making Adam a little more conflicted when he showed up. Very good idea as well.
That's a much better idea. Yes. All on board for that too.
Yeah. William Rosmer. So if Cole goes with Undisputed Era, do they slow burn it until Kenny comes back, or does Hangman join the Bucks for the trios matches? In other news, the Men of the Year Dan Lambert face turn is going well. I'll put him against Cody. Anyone can be a face.
That was a good segment, that, wasn't it?
Yeah. What do you think about how to play out the Bucks side of if the Undisputed Era have Cole? Who do the Bucks have to form their trio?
I think you don't have anyone for a bit, and you tease the tension and like who side is Cole on for a while. You could do it for a couple months at least. And after Cole joins Undisputed Era and leaves the Bucks, not long afterwards, maybe not immediately, but not long afterwards is when Kenny comes back, and you have Kenny to reunite with the Bucks to go against Cole in the Undisputed Era.
That would be great. I think Kenny's out for longer than that.
Might be, yeah.
Just going by injuries. I think Page is a good idea. I'm not a fan of tying up so many titles in one feud, but if that could be the best way to get Adam Cole versus Hangman Page, which I think should be a really big program next year.
Yes, I agree.
Well, keep getting in your Omega chats. We'll read out the rest of them at the end of the show. Pete, we've got someone to say thank you to. It's Bubba232, our wonderful moderator. It's his last day today.
Thank you, Paul, for everything.
Paul.
Been a great moderator. Last stream today. Thank you, Paul. Can we get some love for Paul in the chat? Thanks, Paul. You're
Cheap
great.
Pops. Cheap pops for all the mods. Cheap mods.
Cheap mods.
Cheap pops for all the mods. I was trying to combine cheap pops for mods. Cheap pops for cheap mods. That doesn't really work. Just sounds like I'm negging them.
Yep.
But yes, thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you. Appreciate all the work. Best of luck.
So this episode of AEW Dynamite, that was our opening. So opened on the Kyle, the match, and then the Kyle debut. And then we went into the Paige Danielson stuff. Of course, last week, hour-long draw, and then no real follow-up. It wasn't like later on they announced anything else. So the first Dynamite of 2022, which will be on TBS next year, not TNT, so a big, big deal. No wonder they're going to do this match then, is Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson in a rematch.
I was stunned when I saw this. I was like, they're going to hold off on this rematch for ages. Like, they might have Hangman go against someone else first before they come back to Danielson again. But now they're just doing it straight up. I see why. I feel like it might be too soon. I guess I have to see what happens in the match, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it right now.
We're going to let it play out, I think. That's the idea. Well,
maybe we should let it play out.
This turned into a longer segment where Paige came down for an interview with Tony Schiavone. I think they should stop having Schiavone interview people in the ring. People should just come down to cut a promo.
Yes, and I think it's slightly better than my guest at this time, this person, and then they talk, because he actually leads with like something about the person and gives them a little like something to lead in with. But also it is not an interview. It's him saying, hey man, you nearly won that match, didn't you? And Paige went, and then did a promo. So he should have probably just done a promo, I think.
Or just introduces them. It's just a tiny bugbear of mine. So Paige comes out, and interestingly, he says he has never felt less of a champion than he did at the end of last week's match in the 3 years that he's been there. And for Paige as a character, those have been an incredibly rough 3 years. So that's saying something. And I I guess for the rest of the segment, and then we can get into our thoughts. Danielson comes out, gets a huge reaction, much bigger than Page's, calls Hangman an entitled millennial cowboy, which is genius. How's nobody said that line yet? Apologies if they have. He said this time he's not going to wrestle until January 5th because Page didn't wrestle for a month before their match last week. And this time he wants judges. So not a no time limit, but he wants judges there because he reckons he took the majority of the match. If it went to a judge's decision, he would win. Page said they don't need the judges. He'll beat him in 60 minutes. And there's his segment.
I like this a lot. I liked Danielson saying that, I tweaked my knee in my match against John Silver, so wasn't at 100%. So this time I'm not going to wrestle because I think one of the complaints that you and Luke had beforehand was that Danielson's doing a lot of wrestling and Page is doing nothing. So I think this time Brian being like, that was really dumb. I shouldn't have wrestled. I'm going to not wrestle before my next match this time. I think that works perfectly as a story. I don't know how much I like the judges. I don't know. I would have preferred them to do a different stipulation or just a no time limit match or something to reference the story, but just going, well, we could have another draw, but we could go to another 60 time limit match, but then we'll just have a judge decide it afterwards. I'm like that. I just feel like that doesn't work for wrestling because wrestling isn't real. So you don't actually need a judge's decision. Like you're choosing to go to a judge's decision when you could have something that's more dramatic as a finish. And then you're choosing to have something that's actively less dramatic. I don't know. I don't know if I like the judges that much, but that's okay, I guess. It's better than not doing anything and just having another match.
So one struggle AEW has is that they are trying to re-educate an audience who's been used to a certain way of wrestling booking for 30, 40 years. And I'm one of those people. And now they're trying to bring in new rules to wrestling, which have been there but never really lent on. So the idea of draws, not a thing really. And they've done 2 in the last couple of months, and now they're also judges, which they did do 2 years ago in the Cody match. Who was it against?
About right. Couldn't tell you, but it definitely sounds like it's a Cody thing.
Yeah. So they have done it before, so there is precedent for it. However, I just think it's a bit too much change to be, and I'm always saying embrace change, but I just think it's a few too many layers that are muddying the story. And last week I was like, well, because I was one of the people who was not into the match as everybody else was. It was objectively stunning. Of course, they went 60 minutes. I was really excited by the match, but ultimately, I think Page needs to be presented stronger. But I was also like, hey, AEW have done things way better time after time than I could ever dream of. So let's see what the next step is. And this is the next step. And none of those sort of doubts have been assuaged, whatever. Assuaged.
Assuaged? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I still don't feel like Hangman. I don't feel like this is the Hangman show.
No, I don't either. And honestly, when Hangman won the title, I thought, I don't think I ever said this on a podcast. I don't think I ever had a reason to. I am one of the people that thinks that Hangman should probably have a short reign because every single AEW champion has had a pretty long reign so far. No one's had a short one so far. And that's good. You're protecting the title. But as the point that you've made a few times, for a story like Hangman's, the drama and the story is in the chase. That's his whole story, was getting to the title. And yes, he shouldn't drop it immediately. 100%. I don't buy that for a second. He should probably have a couple successful defenses first before he then drops it. But I don't feel like his reign should be as long as others that have had it before. And currently, I feel like I'm still correct in that. From the reactions he's getting now, they're not as strong as they were before. It doesn't feel like he's at the peak where he should be right now.
I don't know. Part of me thinks there's value in what you're saying, but there's another part of you've given him the belt. Give him a freaking 14-month reign. and make him the longest running champion and really cement this guy as your biggest homegrown babyface star. I don't know. I can only really assess it right now. And I think this isn't where it needs to be currently. And yeah, it was concerning seeing how much more Danielson was cheered than Page. North Carolina are a good crowd. So yeah, but we'll see. You know, like I'm not down on it. It's not bad. It's just AEW set such a high bar for themselves.
Totally.
Like, you know, I mean, like imagine if we were. I wouldn't even make these criticisms on Raw because it wouldn't be worth it. Because I have to first say why they should do a finish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I also very quickly just liked the line that Hangman said. He's come too far to be a B+ player. Good line, Hangman.
Yeah, that's really good. His end promo was really good, I thought. And at the end, you know, it was very confident. Then he just looks down like that. I thought, ooh, your final expression does not match the words you just said and the way in which you said them. So I thought that was a very nice touch. After that, we got a Pinnacle promo backstage. MJF is annoyed with Wardlow for not making the save on him last week. And then he stood in front of him for the rest of the promo. Just brilliant.
It's really good staging. And also, he then turned it around to be like, this isn't us. Me and you, we don't fight to Wardlow. And then said, it's CM Punk's fault. And turned it around to the camera. And even though you could tell he was still annoyed at Wardlow and still thinks it is definitely his fault, he's like, no, it's CM Punk. This is what CM Punk does. He does all this stuff. I thought it was a great promo for MJF and from Dax Harwood as well that chimed in afterwards. Thought both of them did a great job. Excited for that main event that's coming up later.
Well, when do you think Wardlow's going to split?
I don't know, but I'm very excited for it. Because I don't know whether he should. I'm really torn as to whether Wardlow should actually feud with MJF or he should split from MJF and just go off and do his own thing. It's like, I'm just done with you. I don't care about you anymore. Please leave me alone. And he just goes off and does his own thing and becomes a really good babyface. But also, I do want him to feud with MJF. But if he does, he should win. And I just don't want to see MJF lose a lot because I feel like they're hyping him up to be one of the main guys that goes after maybe Hangman or Danielson or whoever, right, afterwards. So I don't know. It's been going on for ages.
It's difficult. Yeah, 2 years. See, this is what I mean. You know, here was me last 15 years being like long-term stories. That's what I need. Give me all the long-term stories. Minimum length for a feud should be a year. And now I'm getting this, and I'm like, oh, it's too long.
Well, the thing with this is, in a way, this is actually very, very similar to people are going to take this out of context and crucify me for it. This is similar to WWE storytelling in the fact that you have a concept, which is Wardlow gets frustrated with MJF, and MJF runs him down, and then you repeat that ad nauseum. There's not that much progression in this story. There's been a bit of progression, but there's been not that much. It's still the same story as it was 2 years ago of Wardlow does something that MJF doesn't like, and MJF says, Wardlow, what you doing, mate? And he goes, you know, and he goes, that's all right, I forgive you. And then they'll carry on. It's mostly the same.
I'm an ass man. Yeah, I'm an ass man.
Wardlow squashed Captain Sean Dean.
Didn't even finish making my point, but that's okay.
I thought you were done. Sorry. What was the end of your point?
I'm saying that the amount of storytelling that they've done for this feud is not worthy of the time it's taken. There's not enough steps of progression. Long-term stories need to work if you're actually progressing the story, and I don't feel like it's progressed that much.
I think the pace is okay, actually. We got a video package on Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. Of course, they're fighting for the TNT title this Friday on Rampage.
They are.
No spoilers on this show. Dan Lambert's back. He's in the balcony bit. He's with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and he cuts this great Dan Lambert promo as always. Taz is chuckling away. I love this guy, he says. And Lambert says he's been given an impossible task by Tony Khan. Get Cody Rhodes cheered. But Cody Rhodes is more of a dick than I am. It's brilliant.
That was a good promo. I like it. And he was saying that he wants either Ethan or Scorpio to have the next TNT title shot after whoever wins out of Sammy and Cody.
Love that Lambert's back. Britt Baker is having a Christmas party. It's with Jamie Hayter there, Reba, and Tony Schiavone tries to put the mistletoe over Britt Baker's head, but Jamie slapped it away. Adam Cole is going to destroy him.
He's going to kill him. He's going to actually kill him. It's great.
I want Kyle O'Reilly to debut behind Tony.
Exactly. I do just want to point out as well, I'm new here. Is anyone going to tell me what happened?
Some guy. Ass man. They need to... This is what happened.
I'm an ass man.
That's what happened.
Jesus Christ. Can we not? I know it's Christmas and everything, but good God.
Oh, wait, we've got a reaction to that, actually. We've got a reaction. Did you guys just see that? Oh, Jesus. So there's a lot of clips that have been left in here.
Oh, yeah, they're all there. I use them sometimes. They're great.
Oh.
Great hairline you got there, mate.
Good grief. Pretending that part of this year never happened.
Also,
I went from the shaved head to this. The in-between is horrid.
Still my favorite comment I've ever seen. Plus, you're kinding wrestler talk.
Wrestler talk.
Amazing.
So Britt Baker, she cuts a promo on Riho, essentially. We got a video package describing the Owen Hart Tournament. Really nice video package. Just put over Owen as a wrestler and a human being. Had talking heads from like Mark Henry, Matt Hardy, and then the younger guys who are like, I used to watch him so much as a kid. This was lovely. I still know nothing about the tournament.
Not a clue. They will be fighting for the Owen, but I don't know what that means yet. But I'm sure we'll find out in due course.
We don't know what the sort of outcome is, like what you get if you win. We don't know the structure. For me, we had the Eliminator tournament for the men. We've just had the TBS. We're in the TBS tournament. Sorry, for the women. I just want a G1.
Yeah,
is that so much to ask?
Yeah, round robin tournament sounds delightful.
But there will be a men's and women's tournament. I guess that's something we did learn, and that it will culminate at Double or Nothing, which is long.
Yeah, it's a long old tournament. Yeah, that lends more credence to a round robin style thing. Although to be fair, the TBS tournament's been going on for ages, which to be fair, I quite like. But we'll get into more of that in a second.
Well, speaking of, Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho in the TBS semi-finals, where it was actually a three-way with Ruby's jacket getting involved at the start.
You know what?
So
I really liked. I liked that she got caught in her jacket. This is a strong nitpick on my part. I understand this is not an actual complaint or something. I would have really loved if Nyla Rose took advantage of it. They called a little bit of an audible, and Nyla just punch her around for a bit with Ruby trying to get her hand out the jacket and try to make it into an angle to be that kind of thing. They didn't really Nyla was trying to help her get the jacket off at point. She's like, can you just get this jacket off now? I want to get the match underway. But still, it was funny to watch it.
Yeah. This match was okay. I never really got fully into it, but I really liked the finish. Ruby's shoulder was worked over after Vicky Guerrero got involved. Kicks out of a beast bomb, which is pretty protected. And then Nyla's going up to the second rope, but Ruby pulls her down into... what's it called? It's not the riot kick No future. No future?
Sure.
Yeah, the no future kick, I think. It's not the riot kick anymore. And she won. And I thought Ruby's selling, actually, at the end was terrific. I thought she was actually injured.
Yeah. legitimately really, really good stuff. I loved the selling of the shoulder through the match. I thought was really, really effective. Love the finish. I really like the Ruby Soho one as well. Thumbs up all round. Really enjoyed this.
But as Duke Tastrophe writes, this is why you've got to use a worked jacket. Can't be wearing shoot jackets down to the ring, people.
No, absolutely. The sleeves are too tight.
After that, we got a recap of Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida's feud. They've had 3 matches so far, and Deeb called out Shida for another match, claiming Shida cheated last week, when, of course, it was Deeb who cheated. I feel like this feud, unfortunately, should have climaxed last week, but they went for a bit of a schmoz finish. So this was such a hot feud, and now it's not. Yeah,
it's just fallen off a little bit. I mean, Serena seems to be having a good time. She said recently, like, she confirmed that she was working as a producer and coach for AEW, which is awesome. She's great. But yeah, I felt like this feud deserved a bit more than it's gotten currently.
Griff Garrison came out next to take on Malakai Black. Oh man, how good is Malakai Black?
Just on his entrance, as the music was playing and he was making his entrance, my notes literally say, God, I love everything about Black. His entire presentation is amazing. Because I think something that people might get confused when we talk about other like gimmicks and stuff in WWE and that is that I don't inherently like creepy, supernatural-ish gimmicks. I think they're awesome. They look so cool. I like when stuff is actually supernatural, when people are teleporting and using stuff that doesn't actually make logical sense, and you actually need to like have magic and stuff. That's when I'm like, okay, I don't want to watch this anymore. But this style of presentation, I absolutely love this stuff. He looks amazing. I love him so much.
I think really, like, we're talking about Adam Cole going for the title. I think they better push Malakai Black into a title picture. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. Could be the TNT title. But I think he's main event worthy. I think it's definitely worth a gamble on a quarterly special or something. He is so good. He kicks Griff in the head right away, wrestles a little bit. Griff was really good here as well. He Black gave him enough without ever making it look like he was out of control. Griff's injured knee was targeted, and Black made him tap in a half Boston Crab, which I thought was a nice heel move. I'm not going to give you fans another Black mass, but he kicked Pillman in the head afterwards.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm such a huge fan of the way that AEW, everyone has like 3 different finishes, and also if someone's injured, you can just do a normal move and it totally works. And they know how to work the psychology when you know that, oh yeah, this is a legit finish. That totally makes sense. It's like when Walter beat Tommaso Ciampa with a chop. Perfect. Wouldn't change a thing about that. That's amazing. They work the psychology of that match to have that be the finish. Having this just end on a single leg Boston Crab. Oh, delightful. Because he worked over the leg. He's got an injured knee. It's perfect. Oh.
No Brody King. There was I thought we might get some interaction of a new House of Black member, as was set up last week, but maybe for the new year. Got a couple of big shows to stack up with, so no need to do it here. Matt Hart, and you had Carl actually in the opening, so that would have been the wrong move to debut too many people. It's not the end of All Out. Then we got a promo with Matt Hardy and Private Party. He said that Isaiah Cassidy's going to pound Jungle Boy's ass at Rampage on Friday. You could hear the crowd laugh.
APA, always pound an ass.
You heard the crowd laugh at that. And then it cuts to Christian, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. And they say, well, I'm going to shove some coal up your ass. It's going to turn into diamonds. It was good. Good stuff. I like seeing Matt Hardy and Christian, kind of mentoring tag teams. It's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Also, we then got the announcement just before the main event. Hook is on Rampage. Hook. I love Hook.
I thought you were going to say JR is back next week.
Well, yeah. That's amazing. Don't. Wasn't that earlier?
I've got it in my notes here. Good for Hook.
I've been here.
Excited for Hook. I mean,
Give me more Hook.
it's all about Sue. Where's my super friends? Super friends.
I'm a hooker. I want Hook. Give me Hook.
But great news, JR, who has been undergoing treatment for cancer at the moment. He's been off for a couple of weeks now. It's in Jacksonville next week, and that's where he's based, I think. So yeah, he's going to be on commentary. Awesome. Well done, JR. I do miss him, although I have loved Taz. I'm going to miss Taz.
Yeah, Taz is so
I want
good.
all the commentators, but I don't. It should no more than
That's
3.
too many.
But I love them all. But the main event of this show was what wrestling should be at Christmas time. This was 100% fun. It was 100% great booking. It was 100% serious in a way as well. So you've got a match that's 300% right there.
Yeah, this was so good. There were so many parts where you just went, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's a nice little fun thing. Oh, that's really fun. Oh, that's also fun, isn't it? That was just me throughout this entire main event, just being like, oh, that's fun. And you came out initially and you had, they were in North Carolina, big FTR kind of country. That's kind of like their whole, like, what they're basing their entire gimmick off is the whole North Carolina wrestling and all that stuff. That's great. Sting, what a timeline we're in. That Sting came out wearing a CM Punk t-shirt with CM Punk face paint on. Like,
oh my God.
What? That doesn't make any sense. And CM Punk, and literally when you had Sting and Darby come out with their various face paint stuff, I was like, I mean, Punk has to come out with Sting face paint on, right? Like that's got to happen. And then he came out in Sting face paint. I was like, yeah, let's go, Punk. Thank God they did it.
Surfer Sting.
Surfer Sting.
Paint.
Yeah, legit. So good. Such a lovely, lovely callback. But then they got into the match and it was MJF and CM Punk facing off, and I was like, surely not. Surely they're not going to have MJF and CM Punk start off this tag match. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm such a mark because I literally bought into them just being like, surely they can't. And like the commentators like, oh, MJF not backing down from CM Punk here. And I was like, why? Why would you have them wrestle in this 6-month tag? This doesn't make any sense. And then they started like circling each other around the ring. I was like, man, they're really going to do it. This is really weird. And then MJF runs and tags out. I was like, of course he is. I'm such an idiot. God, you moron, Pete.
And they wouldn't touch for the entire match. They still have not touched. MJF ran out the ring or tagged out every time. At one point, MJF sprints up the stands. Fast. Got some cardio, that boy. Ran up, Punk chased him, and then he runs down the other side, runs into, like, round the ring, into the ring, tags out. Just, this was almost house show. And I mean that in the most positive way, because I love house shows. That's where people can have actual fun. So to capture that tone, that sort of carefree tone, and put it in a serious feud, and those two things not jar, amazing work. But yeah, I don't think we've actually said the match for people who haven't seen it. It's MJF and FTR versus Punk, Darby, and Sting. Match set up on last week's show. And yeah, they went long. It was like 20, 25 minutes long. Really good wrestling throughout all those spots. Just the joy of seeing Sting, Punk, and Darby, the face paint boys, all together. And the spot everyone's talking about, really, is I think MJF DDTs Sting, and Sting just stands right back up. Awesome. Like, MJF's got his back to him. Sting then throws MJF over the top rope, not a flip bump, but just like a Superman saw, and FTR are there waiting for him, but he somehow overshoots them, and he goes head first onto the ground.
Yeah, this is one of those where where as soon as he threw him, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then he went too far. I was like, oh, no. And then he hit. I was like, oh, no, MJF, please be okay. And immediately you can see like Cash Wheeler rolling over him to be like, you okay, buddy? And luckily he was right back up for the next spot. For the next spot, Ollie, oh my God. Sting is 62 years old. 62 years old, and he does a top rope crossbody to the outside. Sting, please stop. You're going to die. But don't stop because it's amazing. Oh my God, so much fun. Oh, it's just... What can you say about this match? Like you said, big house show vibes. All the right pops in the right places. Sting got a big hot tag. The pop for him was insane when he got his hot tag run streak. All doing like Stinger splashes, and Darby like got him stacked up in the corner, and like Darby does a run into the corner. Punk does his high knee. Sting does a Stinger splash. It was all just really good, feel good moments throughout this whole match. So good. GTS got counted into the big rig at one point, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Just so many like fun spots throughout the whole thing. And but then they all hit their finishes, like big multi-man style match of GTS, Scorpion, Death Drop, Coffin Drop, and they get the win. Awesome. Love it. What a match. So fun.
Baby faces at Christmas time go over.
Yeah.
But the hometown boys beaten in their hometown. What is this company? Disgusting. Overall, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Of course you did. I mean, in fairness, I do probably think it's a 4 out of 5 show, but I gave it like a 7 out of 5. I don't care. I had so much fun. This is great.
Well,
dude, after NXT yesterday, which devolved into me reviewing a hamper instead of talking about the show, this was so fun. And I got to see Kyle O'Reilly in AEW. This is good. Oh, wow, I love this.
Before we get on with the rest of the Omega Chats and our podcast shoutouts, we have someone who was at the show. It's WrestleTalk.com's own Nate.
Hey,
here he is.
Hey, Nate.
Hey, everybody. How are y'all? Can you hear me okay?
Good. Yeah, hear you good. So you were at the Greensboro Coliseum. Am I saying that right? Greensboro?
That's right. Greensboro, yes.
North Carolina.
That's correct. Also, North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
North Carolina.
We're right next to we're right next to Washington. Perfect.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So what was the show like? Just generally, what was the experience last night?
Also, no spoilers for Rampage, please and thanks.
I gotcha. It was great, man. I always enjoy going to AEW. It's so different to me and I hate to compare it to WWE, but it has that more indie show vibe because like it seems like the crowd's generally pretty smart and likes to play along, with the exception of one person. They seem not to play along with Cody most of the time. Yeah, it's great, man. And we had so much fun. I took my 11-year-old. He's been with me to the last 2 shows I've been with. And, there's 4 guys all in like their late 20s, early 30s, all hammered, sitting in front of us. And, they convinced the cameraman to come over and for Rampage. When you see the start of Rampage, you're going to see a little blonde-headed 11-year-old with his Cody shirt on going crazy. And then they zoom out. And so awesome. Made his Christmas, so it's just a great show and great to be there.
Oh, that's good. See, even the drunk fans are nice. That's the sort of tone you want.
Well,
giving drunk fans a good name.
Right. There was one bad fan. I'm sure you all have seen on the internet, the guy that got thrown out for his bad sign. But, you're going to have one in every crowd, right?
Yeah, no place for them, which is good.
No,
good on AEW.
Absolutely
not. So last time when you came on, you told us who your son cheered, and this was fascinating. So who was he cheering for this time? Oh, you are breaking up a tad, Nate. He's gone.
He's gone entirely.
Was it something I said?
We don't know. Maybe it was a sign from Malakai Black or something. He's just been taken out the stream. It's the supernatural powers that he's got.
It's next year. We'll all be sitting there waiting for Brody King to come out with Malakai Black, and Nate is just going to walk onto the screen. Oh, he's back. Let me see if that holds up.
Yeah,
the return.
Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My whole website just decided to refresh, but no, he's still Cody through and through. He also is a big Orange Cassidy fan. and then he basically would look at me and say, "Who am I supposed to cheer for?" If he didn't know. So I was trying to get him to cheer for the right people. But he hates MJF, but he makes him laugh. So when MJF's running through the crowd, he's just cracking up. It was interesting though, because the last time I came on, I talked a little bit about the John Cena with Cody effect going on. I'm interested to see. I don't want to give anything away, but there were the crowd interactions during the Rampage main event were pretty interesting, and I'll be interested to see. It has nothing to do, but it was like when he comes out, you'll hear a very similar chant to one that you may have heard years ago in WWE, but with a different name in it. And so,
what is in a let's go, Cody sucks.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Oh my
God. Fun. That's fun.
But it did quickly turn into a let's go, Sammy, Cody sucks. So the men outweighed the Cody fans in the crowd. But yeah, so that was interesting. And so it was, it's interesting. That doesn't give anything away in terms of the match. It was just, which I was surprised because North Carolina, was sort of really the first place where he got booed heavily. And so I wasn't sure how they were going to handle him coming back. But, the crowd really during the whole show, FTR is from North Carolina, as you know. But Griff Garrison, I don't know if you noticed, came out in his high school. And I don't know how they handled that on the – Yeah, so he had his high school jacket, same high school that I went to, actually. And so he had a huge yes, close. Maybe like 30 years difference. But where the hard cam was, if you looked to the right of the ring, like the first 3 rows were all people there just supporting him. So he had like the whole first 3 rows, Griff Garrison section. And so he had apparently bought a bunch of tickets for them and all of that. So I'm not sure all of them were as heavily invested wrestling fans as what you might normally see in the first 3 rows. So it was kind of interesting to see them get involved, especially when FTR and MJF got the crowd riled up. It was pretty good to see some folks that I know personally know that aren't really wrestling fans, but screaming and yelling at MJF because he's that good to piss them off, right? And so it was good. I mean, he did, man. It was. I thought Dax was gonna. I don't know how it showed on television. I haven't watched it back, but Dax got into it with a dude who was in full makeup Sting next to the ring, and I thought they were going to have to throw the guy out because he was about to come over the barricade and he wouldn't just chill out. But,
with Dax.
Yeah.
Ugh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of questions for various spots on the show, like the standout moments. What was the reaction to Kyle? How did that play out in the arena?
So it went really, it was a big pop. But because you were there, you the camera setting up. And so like we saw him come down through the back area, walk out, hop over the rail, hide. And so then you guys I saw the YouTube clip, him just pop up in the screen, right? So like it really built to anticipation and I'm sure you could hear that on television. I don't know how the audio played it out, but it was pretty cool to see him come in. I think a lot of the fans who were AEW fans were ROH fans when all of them were in ROH at the same time. And so you see a lot of folks who are aware of who he is.
What's an ROH?
Yes. Yes. I know you're a big fan of Ring of Honor, Ollie. I know you were back in the day. But yes.
I hope it comes back.
Yeah.
It will.
I was at, not that this is about AEW, but I was at WrestleCade a few weeks ago and talked with several folks who are involved in ROH, both on the commentary team and backstage. And they've all said they have buildings booked and the expectation is that they'll be back in April, but that it's going to be a very different product. I just have a hard time with understanding how that's going to be, though.
So it's going to be ROH 2.0. Lots of colors.
Yes.
Stop
of colors.
Stop it, Pete. So, Kyle, how was the Page Danielson split? Because to me, watching at home, Page's Hangman's reaction seemed to be, a bit muddled, whereas Danielson got a really, really strong pop.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say that it was. I think it was 100% like positive towards Page. I didn't hear any boos or anything, but I do think that it wasn't as loud as some of the others. It just wasn't quite as the massive pop as you heard for like Sting and CM Punk later on. And then I think people, it's interesting because typically AEW has a lot of huge, a big crowd, a lot of smart fans. But I'm still thinking, that some of the folks that Brian or Danielson and Punk and Sting have brought back maybe aren't as familiar with Page. So I don't know that he's caught on quite as well. But then you think about a guy like Hook. So Hook later on, he's on Rampage, and they had several. Tony Khan comes out, before dark, before each show, and whenever he mentioned Hook, the place just went nuts, right? And he went nuts too. He's like jumping up and down, like doing his little foot stomps that he does, because he's so excited. And so, like, you think, okay, well, Hook's been on TV, done nothing but one pretty cool match, and so, he still is over. So I'm not sure if the draw took a little bit away from the pop or not, because the last time Page was here, the place went ballistic when he came out to that intro when they had the elimination match.
It's like cheering Hook is almost the boo Cody. It's the same emotion, isn't it?
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
Well, we've got a bunch of Omega chats to get to. So thank you very much, Nate, for popping on the stream. Very jealous of you. Are you doing any more AEW shows next year?
So January 8th, Battle of the Belts. I'll be there.
Oh,
what?
Yeah. And then the following week, January 12th, they're in Raleigh. So I'm going to Dynamite and Rampage tapings on the 12th as well.
Go away, Nate. Go away.
Well, you should move to. You should be like Kenny Omega and move to North Carolina, right? And so
North Carolina. Merry Christmas, Nate, and have a happy
Merry
New
Christmas,
Year.
you guys. All right,
We'll get you on the show in January. Bye.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Nate. What a guy.
I want to go to Battle of the Belts.
Yeah, so do I.
I want to go to Dynamite. Before we get in with the Omega chats, let's get into these Patreon Pledgehammers. Thank you ever so much, everyone who supports this channel. If you do, and you pledge $25 a month or more, you'll get a shout out on this very show, like Brian, Null, and Boyd.
Yeah. Thank you. The true Alpha Wolf.
Yeah. Manipulating Manny Omaria. Yeah.
Max, Kurt Warlander, Warland.
Yeah. The Junus brothers, Junus Hakunen.
I can take some kind of bump. Aaron.
Yeah. Ross Pooper Scooper Cooper.
Yeah. WrestleTalk's personal problem solver, Jamie Donovan.
Yeah. He's got two first names, Matt Howard.
David Lucasfilm. Yeah.
The man with the scoops, Sean.
Yeah. The audience plant, Rory Grant. I don't know why I said that like there are more of them, because that is the last one.
You had the inflection wrong, didn't you?
I did. I got too excited. I was too excited by the yeahs and the claps. That's what it was.
We've actually had loads of Omega chats come in. Let's get to these.
Let's do it.
Mr. Not So Casual says, Young Bucks bad friends confirmed. They abandon Hangman when he needs them, don't help Omega after promising to do so, and then just looked at Cole with jealous eyes when he finally reunited with a friend he had beef with. They need friendship counseling.
Maybe they do. Maybe it's the Bucks all along.
They're toxic friends, I think we can all agree. BL Dog 97. Most definitely some lofty fantasy booking here, but what if the Bucks take the face side of the program versus the redacted era, and they reform the Golden Elite and bring Ibushi over from New Japan for a bit? P.S. got engaged yesterday.
Congratulations.
BL Dog 97. If that happens, I want Omega to. I think Ibushi should come over for Omega. So I'm going to say,
Yes.
yeah, that's a bit lofty. Hannah Allen. MJF is golden. Well, gosh, this Dan Lambert, he probably should try shooting more straight. He gets heat. Dickhead heat. And I'm supposed to hate him. I also live in Australia, so he could be my best bait, lol. My best mate, lol. We hate this man, right? Jam that jam. All the love.
Thank you. I love Dan Lambert. He's great.
I love Dan Lambert. Peter Mullins. To quote Sean Ross Sapp, surely this is now the time to bring out the Trios titles. It could be King of Trios style with guest teams challenging. Wyatt family are free agents. EC3, Braun and Cross are about. Yeah, but Braun would be in both the Wyatt family and that faction. Yeah. Primo, Epico, and Carlito. BWO are still making dates. Do it.
Shane Taylor Promotions. Get them in.
AEW also have quite enough trios already, I think.
You
don't need to do too many invitations. With the New Japan relationship as well. You know, you've got a lot of factions there. And their own six-man titles. Trevor Sievert. I see a lot of parallels between the Hangman story and mental health. As someone who struggled with depression, seeing the highs and lows and how others can support and bring you up speaks to me personally. I love this story so much. Thoughts?
Agreed. Yes. That's the short version. I probably have a lot more thoughts than that, but to keep it short, yes.
It's definitely psychologically realistic to not have all their problems solved upon achieving a thing.
Yes.
Zooey Sung. Pete gets to watch a good show for a change. He looks happier too. That's the wine, Zoe. And it's going to happen. Ruby going to win on TBS and the confetti is going to be 2002. Sorry, Pete, no Pokemon shout. This is AEW, no gimmicks, only happy.
It's fine. Just do the Pokédex on the other shows because I need that to make me smile.
Roy Carter, thanks for the self-aware, let it play out. They have perfectly matched arenas where I'm still entertained, but have apprehensions. Watched a lot of WrestleTalk this year. Thanks for all the entertainment, and may you all have peaceful holidays. Thanks, Roy. Thanks for your generous chat as well. That's very nice. Nick Cordell, this was a great show. It was actually my first big wrestling event ever, and I had a blast. I even got to flip off MJF when he passed me by while running up the stairs. Definitely a night I will always remember. The crowd goes wild during Rampage.
Nice. Good stuff.
Mr. Not So Casual. Since Omega seems like he'll unfortunately be out for a while, the first Trios champions should be the Powerhouse, Starks, and Hook. Also, Ollie looks like Mr. Fantastic these days. Good on you. I'll take that. Oh, yeah, because he's got the silver hair, hasn't he? Hangman having a short reign as his first would be peak New Japan.
I don't know if that's a good thing these days.
Yeah, it's usually because the champions get injured.
Yeah.
Hawk the Outcast 823. To anyone who has seen Dodgeball, how much over will Hangman be if he loses the title, becomes known as the shortest reign in AEW history, but doesn't fall back to being a drunk? Even better, this could be Hangman's Rocky 3.
I really like it.
No one says Rocky 3's a good one.
No, that's true. I mean, the thing with Hangman is I think the intrigue of Hangman and what makes him interesting is that the drawbacks and the things that make him like the psychology of him is the interesting part of Hangman. That's what makes him an interesting character. Sure, he's a great wrestler and we enjoy his in-ring work and stuff like that, but the real draw of Hangman is the psychology behind him and his character. So having another thing that knocks him back a peg will then make him more interesting again, but I guess at some point you have to like pay that off and make him like I don't like to use this word, but like to make him better, you know. I think that should be what happens in the end, but I don't know how you do that without taking away what makes him interesting.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I don't think I've ever seen a mental health attribute be used in a wrestling story, so I don't know how it can be done effectively. I guess, like, and I don't want to equate things to other things in real life. I'm talking purely from how it would work as a story perspective. Would the way to treat it, do you think, be like an injury? You know, like how certain people, they've always got, you target the neck, wouldn't you? Because like Miro, like that's his weak spot. With Hangman Page, it's his confidence. So it's just you target that bit of his anatomy, but it's actually in his head.
Yeah, that could totally work. I don't know. I feel like there's some point where he needs to overcome that obstacle, I guess. I feel like that's just the natural storyline progression, is that he would then, you're setting up the obstacle for him to overcome it, right? And that would be the point of it, I guess. I don't know. I know he did. But that, like you said, it's not just fixed, right? It's not just overcome it because he's done the thing. You now need to keep that going. I don't know. I'll see what AEW does. They're better at this than I am.
Uncharted waters, really, of booking. Blinken 1995. Hi, guys. Who do you think should take the belt off Hangman? I think MJF is being positioned to do so. Also for Pete, are you watching the new Critical Role campaign?
Yes. Yes, I am. I'm part of the YouTube gang, because I can't watch it live on a Thursday night, obviously, or Friday morning, I guess, my time. And I'm like halfway through the latest episode 7 or 8 or whatever it is. It's good.
I think Danielson, for a money perspective, I think a big mainstream name that's already established.
I think, yeah, Danielson taking him off it would be good. I wouldn't be opposed to MJF doing it either. I think either are good options.
Kevin, so this is a bit of dialogue that happened on Dynamite near the end. Taz, I'm sure JR would have loved to see that. Tony, by the way, JR will be here next week, folks. Taz, oh, so I'm out. Cool. Taz is so funny on commentary. I love it. Also, go tell your past self that Sting and Punk will be in the main event of Dynamite.
Can you imagine? It's ridiculous, isn't it? That's insane.
This time last November. No Sting, no Punk.
Absolutely ridiculous. Not even a whiff of Punk anywhere near this at all. Insane.
Kevin, also, I haven't been super chatting much lately. I don't really care about WWE and don't have much time for AEW, but I really appreciate your work and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Also, I came 4th in FanQuizzlemania. Come on. That is
very,
good. There's
very
a lot
good.
of people who play that.
Yeah, it was good fun, this FanQuizzlemania. Thought it was a laugh. Me, Andy, and Tempest having a good time.
They always are. Nate S., speaking of ass man, check out Danhausen's vlog where he pulls up to the Ass Boys on his scooter. You can tell Billy Ass really gets a kick out of Danhausen. Also, I can't believe I'm going to get to see an Undisputed Era match in AEW in person next week. Very excited.
Yeah, something we didn't mention is they're going to have a 6-man tag next week.
Who against?
Cassidy and Trent and the other lad.
Makes sense.
Yeah, best friends.
Chucky.
Yeah,
Justin Edelheat. First Ultra Chat in a while. How are you guys? I met CM Punk for the first time at C2E2 a couple of weeks ago. My friend said it felt like Punk didn't want to be there. Also met Ken Anderson. Surely you mean Arn Anderson. Christopher Daniels and Lance Archer. Happy holidays, Jam That Jam.
Lovely, thank you.
Christopher Jazzcat. I enjoyed the Punk Sting Derby versus MJFTR. MJFTR, that's a good name. Way more than I thought I would. Just now?
On the episode of Dynamite, they kept calling him MJFTR.
Oh, that didn't hear that.
MJF said it in his promo.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well done, Christopher Jazzcat. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Tweet
well
that to
done,
MJF.
Jazzcat. Yeah, well done. Well done. Good.
Maybe I was just in a happy mood because we got my favorite tag team back from the dead. Red Dragon versus Young Bucks and Cole versus O'Reilly again. Please, 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 please. They only just got back together.
Not Cole versus O'Reilly anytime soon. No way. Give me all of the Undisputed Era and all of the Red Dragon first.
I'll pass over to you to see us out here.
Sure thing. One last salute said, Pete, did we become enemies? I got a Johnny Gargano, his winky face emo on my leg tattoo after he beat Cole for the NXT Championship. I mean, that's fair. That's totally fair. I would have, the time I wanted to get my Undisputed Era tattoo was before that, I believe. It was when they were peak dominance and all that jazz. John Rye said, Merry Christmas to everyone at WrestleTalk. You guys were a big part of my year. You guys helped me find my love of wrestling again. And can Ollie tell his friend Tony Khan to hire more women and put them on TV, starting to look like a sausage fest?
I've been telling him for about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
The guy just blows me off. He's not answering any of my messages.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, he pays us. You really think we'd have a more like direct line of contact, right?
Just one-way traffic. Yeah,
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? Greg Murphy said, meant to donate on the Raw review, but didn't get the chance. Merry Christmas to the lads. Never undervalue what you do. So here's a donation to my favorite YouTubers, the richest wrestling reviewers in town. Let's pull that one back in a little bit. P.S. Wonderful Life is a classic.
Yes, correct movie choice.
I heard there was some discourse about that on the old Raw podcast about Wonderful Life.
Well, it's just Sean Ross Sapp and Denise said it was a boring film. But I don't think it's a boring film. I think people who say it's a boring film are themselves boring.
I haven't seen it.
But thank you, Greg. Comment. Greg, with that very generous donation, we might just be the richest YouTubers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Respect My Beard said, no words for the show. Just wanted to thank you for your great work this year and for the opportunity to implement Quizzlemania in Germany. That was very kind of you. Wish you happy holidays. Stay healthy and carry on like this. Many greetings, Volker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Volker.
Dan God of Thunder said, Merry Christmas or whatever winter holiday y'all celebrate. Pete is not a miniature. This is from the No Rolls Bar Discord, where there's a chat where people can show off their minis that they've painted. And I just waited. I was bored and I just looked at the Discord and saw that chat. And I was like, if I post pictures of myself, I'm very small. Do I count as a mini? That was just a joke that I made in that. I'm very funny, you see. Keith Lloyd said, a big Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you guys all the way from Indiana. Wednesdays will always be the filet mignon of wrestling nights. My New Year resolution is to finally become a Patreon of WrestleTalk. Keep up the great work. Jam that jam, LIW for life. Thank you very much. And yes, you get awesome things on Patreon. You would have so much content. Oh my God. The entire backlog of WrestleTalk Extra and WrestleTalk After Dark. That's a lot of shows. Oh my God. And also like Patreon shoutouts and stuff if you pledge at the higher tiers. It's good.
And thank Quizzlemania.
Thank Quizzlemania at the $10 tier. After Dark, Extra, polls, so much stuff. Wrestle League, so much stuff. Oh, goodness me. Patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Tyler Woodward said, hi guys, first Omega chat from me in a long time. Hope you guys have a great Christmas. Thank you for everything this year. Jam that jam. LIW for life. LIW is fine. Obviously it's fine. Why would you even bring it up? We're fine. And last minute Omega Chats here. Bubba232, our lovely moderator that is leaving after today's stream. No, thank you, WrestleTalk. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you, Paul. You're great. We're going to miss you very much. And William Rosmus says, Rocky 3 is great. It's just not as good as 1 and 2 and 4. Also, I came 33rd on my first fan Quizzlemania. That's honestly close to the bottom, but good try.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us here and for all your very generous chats there. That's very nice of you all. This is my last show until next year. Well, me and Pete will be back doing Raw just for that day. And then it's me and Luke back again on the AEW that Thursday. Thursday the 7th, I believe.
Sure. Yeah? Nope, 6th.
6th.
Yeah.
But yeah. Have a very Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy Rampage on Friday. I don't know how I'm going to watch it. I'm at my lady partner's house with her family. And can I sneak out for an hour somewhere?
You can watch it when you get back, you know. It's possible to watch it not on, like, Saturday.
I don't know. We've just had a few more chats come in. Christopher Jazzcat, one more Omega chat to say, happy holidays. Thank you for everything you folks do. Hope everyone in the community has a great year ahead. And Justin Edelheat, Mr. Kennedy was the nicest of the bunch. He called me an asshole. It was literally one of the best days of my life. That's great.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. Mr. Anderson.
Anderson.
Merry Christmas, everyone. There's not going to be a Friday show tomorrow, right? Because everyone's off. So there's no Friday show tomorrow. That's going to be all
there's a lot of pre-recorded best of the year stuff going out. Like the prediction show, the Christmas special is out on Saturday. Dear God, the audio's not great.
It's not a good video. It's really not. I've watched it. It's audio's real bad. We sing a lot. But it's fun though, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry everybody.
There's a bit where I'm just
people like it.
You can You can hear my clip-on mic as I walk away. I'm just showing Tom where the toilets are. You can just hear that in the background. It's great. Like, you know, it's a video is what it is. But yeah, that's going to be it.
Merry
Thanks, everyone.
Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Have a
Christmas.
good Christmas and a new year. We'll see you in 2022. I'll see you in 2022. Pete will be here next week. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam,
Festively.
everybody. Do you guys want me to do an end screen? I'm just going to end it. Bye. Press the videos and stuff. Bye. Subscribe.